Thanks for tuning in to 5 While You Drive, an American Daily Press podcast. I'm your host, Chris. It's August 30th, 2024. There are 67 days left until Election Day, and last night VP Kamala Harris gave her first sit-down interview since receiving the Democratic nomination. In a pre-taped segment on CNN last night, she and her running mate Tim Walz sat down with host Dana Bush to answer questions. And while details are still slim about any specific policies that Harris would implement as president, she did say that on day one she would extend the child tax credit to $6,000, but only for the first year of the child's life. Other questions about the security of the border, the economy, and what voters should make of her seeming changes in policy issues were met with some non-specific answers. However, she did reiterate that her highest priority would be to, quote, support and strengthen the middle class, end quote. Governor Walz was asked about some of his misstatements, such as, quote, carrying weapons of war, end quote, and about IVF fertility treatments, and he responded by saying that, quote, my grammar is not always correct, end quote. Reactions to the interview have been mixed. Not to be outdone with confusing policy changes, President Trump announced at a campaign rally yesterday that he supports IVF, so much so that he has pledged to get IVF treatments paid for by the government or covered by insurance. He also gave mixed signals about a ballot measure in his home state of Florida to expand abortion rights. This all seemingly flies in the face of the pro-life stances he espoused in his previous presidential campaign, and has drawn the ire of pro-life activists online. Live Action President Lila Rose took to X to say, quote, given the current situation, we have 2 pro-abortion tickets, end quote, and that, quote, a Trump win is not a pro-life win right now, end quote. The Trump campaign has tried to walk back the former president's remarks on abortion in Florida by saying that he has not indicated yet how he will vote. Speaking of pro-life issues, are you looking for a delicious cup of coffee that also supports a great cause? Look no further than North Arrow Coffee Company. Their specialty-grade coffee beans are ethically sourced and roasted to perfection, providing a rich and satisfying taste in every cup. But that's not all. Every purchase of North Arrow helps support life-affirming organizations that provide resources and support to families in need. Plus, you can get a 10% discount on your first purchase with the promo code ADP10 and support us. Don't wait. Visit northarrowcoffee.co/ADP today and start your day with a cup of coffee that truly makes a difference. X might be shutting down. In Brazil, that is. In a months-long spat with Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandra de Moraes, who has ordered the suspension of several X accounts for supposedly spreading disinformation, the situation came to a head when Justice Moraes gave X 24 hours to name a new legal representative or face a nationwide shutdown. X's global government affairs team said in a statement, quote, the fundamental issue at stake here is that Judge de Moraes demands we break Brazil's own laws. We simply won't do that, end quote. Moraes has already ordered the bank accounts of Elon Musk's Starlink to be frozen, prompting a statement from Musk himself saying that, quote, SpaceX and X are 2 completely different companies with different shareholders, end quote. I should note here that Starlink is a subsidiary of SpaceX. X isn't the first social media app that has faced these kinds of issues in Brazil. Both Telegram and WhatsApp have also had temporary bans for failure to cooperate with government requests to either block users or hand over user data. And while X has not yet complied with Justice Moraes' deadline, the app still appears to be working in Brazil, for now. Speaking of SpaceX, the Polaris Dawn mission has faced yet another delay. In a separate mission to launch some Starlink satellites, which was successful, one of the Falcon 9 boosters went up in flames during a failed attempt to land at sea. This comes after several hundred successful landings, but the FAA has grounded all Falcon 9 flights until further notice. We've already seen delays for the Polaris crew for weather conditions and a helium leak, but despite this latest setback, the crew remains focused on their mission, and they say, quote, sometimes the hardest journeys require the most patience, and we're ready to wait for the right moment. We know many have traveled to see the launch and we're grateful for your support." End quote. The earliest they might be able to launch is sometime later today, but that's probably a little over-optimistic. And finally, I wanted to end today on a positive note. Thanks for tuning in to 5 while you... I'm just kidding. Monday is Labor Day, which means it's a 3-day weekend for most people. The first Monday in September has been a national holiday since 1894, making this the 130th Labor Day, even though the very first Labor Day celebrations date back to 1882 in New York City, a place synonymous with fair wages and good treatment of workers. According to the United States Department of Labor, Labor Day is a, quote, celebration of the social and economic achievements of American workers. Now, this isn't to be confused with the other Labor Day, which is Labor Day, L-A-B-O-U-R, also called May Day or International Workers' Day, or the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker. That one also celebrates workers, but is not yet a national holiday. Thanks for tuning in to 5 While You Drive. If you like what you heard, give us a follow on X, or visit AmericanDailyPress.com. If you'd like to leave feedback for the show and make it into the mailbag, you can send us an email at 5drive, that's the number 5, and drive, at AmericanDailyPress.com.